and welcome to Loud Crowd Podcast again. And this is the third episode. And as I mentioned, we'll be looking at World War II and the fear propaganda around it, especially post-war, and why there are so many slogans and phrases that's become untouchable. So first, just to greet my co-host, my guest who will be a regular guest on our show now, Philip Jimenez. Welcome, Philip, and thank you so much for sharing your views again with us tonight.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Okay.
As always, good to see you.
Right, so without further ado, I'm first getting into the softer part just to prepare you for what's coming. Then I'll do a proper history of wars and revolutions so that you can get into the timeline of the Jesuits and the Freemasons and how they go together with the revolutions and wars. And then I will move over to World War II and I will explain to you why Google's fear propaganda campaign was so successful and why they are so good at what they do. You will understand after the show. So tonight's episode is probably one of the most controversial topics that you can tackle. As you know, the fear propaganda around World War II and the Jews and anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial, all those phrases brings out a lot of fear in people. I understand the ideologies behind it. I understand the reasons behind it. So I have absolutely no fear in exposing to you what's really behind the scenes. So episode 3 is not about hatred. It is not about denying suffering. It is not about attacking any race or religion or people or group. That's not what it's about. It is about propaganda. It is about fear. And it is about what happens when history becomes untouchable. Tonight, we're looking at World War II, the power of narrative shaping, and how collective fear can be used to influence generations. I mean, we are now the what generation after World War II, and still there's fear around the topic. So this discussion is inspired by themes explored in my book, Strange Blood 2. I go into detail in there. I give you all the links in my book. You can just, if you buy the ebook, you just click on the hyperlink and you're in the books, you're in the discussions. Very easy to find the information. So tonight, I simply ask you, can history be used politically? Can tragedy become institutionalized? And what happens when certain questions becomes forbidden? And that is the real part where I want to touch on. And you're going to be blown away when I show you what's going on. So I just want to first explain to you the power behind emotional narratives. Every nation tells stories. Every war creates narratives. And every generation is taught what to fear. But they are far from the truth. The Second World War produced some of the strongest emotional imagery in modern history. The suffering was real. The destruction was real. Millions died. Over 60 million people died. And I'm going to tell you the groups and you're going to be amazed. But after the war, something else emerged, a global psychological framework built around fear. Certain subjects became emotionally locked away from scrutiny, not because people lacked questions, but because people became afraid to ask. And that is where propaganda becomes dangerous, because the people who did ask questions were thrown in jail. Over 2,500, no, 2.5 million people were killed because they asked questions. I will show you everything just now. So fear is real. These people, the Jesuits does not play. If you do not play according to their game, they simply take you out. That's why they took out JF Kennedy. He didn't want to play according to the Jesuits game. He wanted to put the dollar system back to the gold standard. And he didn't want state and church to merge. And they simply took him out. That's how they work. And just a little bit of a rock in the bush, as we say in Afrikaans. Jackie Kennedy was brought up in a Jesuit convent. That's all I'm going to say. So, because propaganda does not only lie, sometimes it simply tells you, do not question this. So, this is one of the main themes in Strange Blood too. My purpose when I started writing Strange Blood was to motivate people to start asking questions, to have discussions about these things, because that's what they are stopping. Because the moment you start discussing it, the truth comes out, and that's what they don't want. So fear is one of the oldest psychological weapons in human history, as we explained to you before. When people are afraid of social rejection, afraid of labels, afraid of losing jobs, afraid of public humiliation, they stop thinking critically. And me and Philip has been through this. We've been publicly
Oh yeah.
humiliated. We've been ostracized.
Ostracized. Yeah.
When COVID started, people took a photo of my profile picture and posted it on their profiles and said, "Oh, the crazies are creeping out of the holes again." So I've been through it
I
as
had
well.
I had a very similar experience. I found somebody's short video saying, "Oh, these conspiracy theorists. I found this
Yes.
guy, and it showed me, kind of looks like Keanu Reeves, totally insane." And I'm like, "Who is this guy? Where did he find me? I am a total nobody. I don't know how he chose me." And everyone, there was like laughter in the background, and I was just like, "Wow."
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's exactly what
that's
they
my
do.
little,
And that's
yeah.
that's
You
what
go
they
ahead.
do with us. That's, as you call, nobodies. We don't have a strong voice or a big platform. They just simply humiliate us. And those are paid shills, as Dimitri calls them. And that's what they do. But with the guys like Dr. Piers Robinson, Walter Fight, the higher Dr. Sam and Mark Bailey, they just simply eradicate the whole lives. I mean, they block their accounts, they take their licenses away, they fine them the most extraordinary fines. I mean, our doctor, Dr. Tross Becker, when he spoke out about COVID, they fined him, they suspended his license. So this persecution is real, and sadly, it's only going to get worse, and I'll explain it to you. So, and eventually they begin policing themselves. And you saw how people policed other people during COVID. Just like that, the whole structure of humanity changed when there's fear propaganda involved. So do not underestimate the power of this fear propaganda. This is a very sensitive topic. I just said to Philip just before we started, I will not surprised if this channel be shut down. They'd shut down my previous channel the moment that I posted my book Strange Blood on the channel. And I also had a video of Dr. Mike Yeadon on there, and they didn't even warn me, they just closed the channel. So if I disappear, that's the reason why. So that is the highest form of psychological control, when people silence themselves before anyone else needs to. That is what the purpose is of fear propaganda, to silence you.
Self-censorship.
Yes.
Self-censorship.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, Philip. We've seen this throughout history. We've seen it in politics. We've seen it in the media. We've seen it during global crisis. And yes, we also see it in historical discussions through World War II. And sadly, people who speak out in truth, and this is probably one of the main reasons I'm glad that I'm single at the moment. Partners doesn't always stand by the partners. The partner who speaks out in truth doesn't just get ridiculed. The partners break down the people who speaks out in truth as well. And you're going to have to make the decision, am I standing for truth, or am I cowering and just, ignoring what's going on just so that I can have a partner or a family or whatever. And the Bible is explicit about it. It says in the end times, brothers, mothers, children, partners will stand up against each other. So expect that when you start standing up for the truth. In my book, I discuss how certain historical events evolve over time into something larger than history itself. They become sacred narratives, untouchable. And once a narrative becomes sacred, questioning details inside that narrative becomes emotionally or socially dangerous. Now, again, that does not mean suffering did not happen. It does not mean innocent people did not die. But history should never fear investigation. The moment you see that you cannot investigate something, you must know there's a problem. Because truth does not fear questions. If you speak the truth, you don't mind people asking you questions about it. It's when you lie that you start hiding stuff. One of the historians who became deeply controversial for raising questions about wartime narratives was David Irving. I've read many of David's books. I've watched all of his podcasts and how he
I
explains
love
things.
David Irving.
Oh, you do as
I
well.
love
Yes.
David Irving.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, he's very courageous, and he was also thrown in prison. I think he was sentenced to 3 years, but he did 2 years or something. But David has paid a very expensive price for standing up for the truth. And in court, there was another guy, the defense, who made a video of all the evidence of the gas chambers and all that. It's laughable when you look at it. When you know the truth and you look at that video, you want to vomit. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I can't even believe they put that up. Okay, so now whether people agree with him or not is not really the point tonight. The important point is this: why do some historical discussions immediately trigger fear, outright censorship, or personal destruction? Why are some topics open for debate while others become psychologically protected zones? Those are the questions that interest me, because propaganda often works by attaching emotion so strongly to a subject that rational discussion becomes impossible. And that is the purpose of fear propaganda. I've said that before. So today we live obviously in an age of digital propaganda. So fear spreads globally within seconds. Narratives are repeated endlessly. People are emotionally conditioned through repetition, outrage, and social pressure. And if we do not learn how propaganda functions, history will simply repeat itself in newer forms. The battlefield, as we said to you before, is no longer just military, it's psychological, it's informational, it's emotional. So today the war is for the human mind. Right. Now I'm going to take you into the part that will shock a few people, and it will be maybe no news to some other people. But to me, the most important thing is that the truth is being said today as it is, with no holding back. So I'm going to give you first just a history of revolutions and wars, where the Freemasons started, and you will see how it all fits together. So the first thing you have to understand about all the wars, I mean all the wars, all the revolutions and the regime change wars in the world, is so that the Vatican can get world dominion back. Okay, that is the purpose of all these wars. The conflict of history and now are controlled conflicts. So all these wars, all these revolutions, all this chaos, it's controlled chaos. It doesn't just happen by chance, okay? It's planned, it's executed.
Right.
The propaganda that goes with it, all of it, it's planned, it's controlled.
Yeah, nothing important is left to chance.
Absolutely.
It's something, even like the George Floyd riots. That was
Yes.
that was a planned, orchestrated
Absolutely.
operation.
Absolutely. That was a Freemason project. That's typical how the Jesuits work. I will show you.
And they had planned it like 7 years in advance.
Correct. If you see
but
how
they didn't
far...
know who, they didn't know which they didn't know exactly which guy they were going to use, but they had
Yes.
they had it
They
planned.
had the narrative planned. Yes. You said in the previous program that occult means hidden. Now, these Jesuit-trained people that comes from Tavistock Systems and Alice Bailey, they are trained to deceive. That is their, how can I say, their superpower. It is what they do best. A Freemason is trained to deceive. So they lie so easily. It's how they are trained. Even the lawyers, most of the lawyers, they will tell you, you know, I studied for 11 years to learn how to lie. And I'm not saying all lawyers lie. There are really good lawyers. I worked for a really good guy that's really in the work for with his heart. But the system behind all of these things, when you walk into a court, you walk into a Freemason court. But we'll get there now. So World War One, okay, I'm first going to tell you what was the reason for each of these wars, right? World War One was to get rid of the Tsars in Russia and the Orthodoxy, because the Orthodox Church was a problem to the Roman Catholic Church, right? World War II was to establish the Zionist Jesuit state in Israel, authorized by Britain. It was also the first step into the New World Order, where the UN, the United Nations, formed. This was the first step into the New World Order. And World War III. Now, the guy, I'm putting the guy whose history video I used is Walter Veit, and you can find the link in the comments. Okay, I cannot give all the information he gives. It's a lot of stuff. It's over 2-hour lecture. But if you can just click on that link, you will get all the information. There's a lot of stuff in between, which I'm not saying because it's simply too much. I'm just giving you the skeleton. So World War III, now he said this, I think about 10 years ago, he was doing this lecture. And he said, World War III will be to wrap up the Eastern Bloc countries against each other. And this war will filter into the rest of the world, and it will become World War III. And World War III, it's to usher in the New World Order, this fascist New World Order regime that will take over the governments, and that will take over the religious system. So everything leads to Rome. Whenever you see the fasciae, bundle of rods, they bind together, I'm going to show you a clip now, in symbols in a country, you must know that that country is already subject to Rome. Okay, so there, under the eagle's feet, you'll see there's the fasciae. It's a bundle of rods and it's bonded together. You will see that now that I've put your attention, I'm not saying that's a fact. We know that Iran and Russia and China, a few countries, does not go with the dollar anymore, but that does not mean that they're not subject to Rome, but we'll get there. Right, so I've showed you the fasciae sign. So whenever you see that little bundle of rods with binded together, you can know that country is already subject to Rome. You're going to be shocked when I tell you what's happening with Russia. I didn't know this. I found this out. That's my research, and I'm crazy about Russia. I'm crazy about President Vladimir Putin. So this was also traumatic for me. So the two opposing sides that you see in wars and in political parties, they are all controlled at the top by Jesuits. So to go and vote is the biggest joke in the world. There is no such thing as politics. It is like voting for the devil in pink or voting for the devil in blue, because this two-system party is a Jesuit agenda. That is how they create chaos in countries. This is how they separate and make countries weak. They create a two-party system. But at the top, it's still Jesuits that's running the show. It's still the same agenda that they are working for. So whether you are voting for the National Party or the Communist Party or for the Liberals or for the Democrats or what the Republicans, it doesn't matter, because at the top, the agenda is already the same. They are all working towards a new world order system. Okay. So, so the state becomes, with this new world order system, the state becomes a god. And if you do not do what they tell you, they simply they get rid of you, as they have done with J.F. Kennedy. So I want to take you into the dates so that I can show you where the Jesuits and the Freemasons come in and why I talk about the Jesuits all the time. So we're looking at the revolutions and the wars between 1750 and 1850, right? Now, the first Masonic Grand Lodge, okay, let's just go back first. Remember, I said to you, Rome was in control. Then it was the Protestant Reformation, and Rome lost global control. So they recreated all these secret societies, the Jesuits, the Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Druids, all those little factions to get control back, global control back. So that is why it's so difficult to trace them back to Rome, because it's not Rome directly. Rome plays the other card, the other side of the card. You will see now with Iran, the Pope going around saying, oh, he's so against wars and wars are wrong, and there's a different approach to men conflict, but he's the one funding the wars. He's the one activating the wars. I will show you now. So it's very hard to see the control system. If you go and do research of how the control systems in countries work, you're going to see military complexes, you're going to see mega corporations, you're going to see bankers, but you will never be able to trace it back to the real perpetrator, who is the Vatican, who is Rome, those Venetian mega rich families behind them, like Philip explained to you last time. They are so secret, they are so infiltrated that you cannot draw a straight line back to it. But if you understand the hierarchy and how they work, you will quickly start to see. Philip told us about the education system and how they dumb down people. Now, the guy Dewey, who is the main person behind the state education system in the world, is a Jesuit. He's a trained Jesuit. So if you really want to, and you go back and you go see, okay, who's the boss of this guy? And you go back, you'll end up with a Jesuit general right at the end. And the Jesuits belong to the Vatican. They are Roman controlled. So the Masonic Grand Lodge, so after Rome lost their global control, they started now making these secret societies again. So the Masonic Grand Lodge of England was founded in 1721. The France Grand Lodge was founded in 1731. Benjamin Franklin was inaugurated as a Freemason in 1738. And yes, there was stages where the Roman Catholic Church say they write off the Freemasons. They want nothing to do with it. It's all in that video that I will put in the link. I'm not putting in everything. I just want to make you see the timeline. So in 1771, Paris Grand Lodge was opened. 1776, the Illuminati and the American Revolution starts. So they first, from 1721 to 1776, they created all the secret societies. They established them, created the hierarchy, and then boom, 1776, the American Revolution started. 1789, the Spanish Revolution started. 1823, Polish Revolution started. 1831, the German and the Italian Revolution started. And it was all orchestrated by these Jesuits and Freemasons. 1848, Russian Revolution. So then 1914 to 1918 was World War I. It started July the 28th, 1914. It ended 11 November 1918. You will see all these wars was 4 to 5 years. Remember that. Then World War II was 1939 to 1945. It started the 1st of September 1939 and it ended 2nd of September 1945. So, here's another big thing that you must remember. The World Economic Forum's agenda ends, or the big date for them is 2030. So the Iran war started 28 February 26. If you count 4 to 5 years, it's going to end exactly on time, 2030. So by 2030, they want to bring in central banking, digital ID, all these World Economic Forum agenda things must start at 2030. So this war, this Iran war, is not about nuclear weapons. It is not, none of the wars that started for the reason they said they started, all these regime change wars. The false flag operations was just to get it going. you will see how 9/11 was used to start the wars with this Eastern Bloc. Then it was that Duma false gas attack that started the war, regime change war in Syria. Then it was 7 October for Gaza, and now it was the apparent nuclear threat that they used to start the war in Iran. There was never a nuclear threat. Yeah, let me not say that part now. It's too much information. So all these wars were created by these Freemasons and these Jesuits. You saw now how I showed you that the Roman Catholic lost global control. The Protestant Reformation was a big problem to them, so they had to get control back. They first created the secret societies, then they did all the revolutions, they did the World Wars 1, 2, and this one that we're in right now is World War 3, and it's not going to stop. It's going to go on until 2013, I suspect, and then all of the World Economic Forum's agenda points will come together. So I'm ready to move into World War. Now we are moving into the actual World War II propaganda. And before I explain everything to you, I first want to show you who Hitler, Himmler, and Goebbels really were. And I want to give you, be able to see it on my screen now. Can you see it, Philip?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so it's Hitler and the Jesuits. So Hitler said, and this comes from very good sources. It's the source references and everything is on the video link that I will share in the description, so you can trust these clips. Quotes Hitler and the Jesuits. Hitler said, I learned much from the order of the Jesuits. Until now, there has never been anything more grandiose on the earth than the hierarchical system of the Catholic Church. I transferred much of this organization's info into my own party. This comes from Secret History of the Jesuits. Then the SS Army was constituted according to the Jesuit principles. Himmler, head of the SS, was closely associated with the Jesuits through his father and brother. Hitler said of him, I can see Himmler as our Ignatius of Loyola. That was the head of the guy who started the Jesuit order. That's also from the Secret History of the Jesuits. And then Joseph Goebbels, who is the propagandist for Hitler, was also a trained Jesuit. So now you understand where the ideology comes from this whole World War II fear propaganda narrative. So they were Jesuit trained. The fear propaganda was to control the narrative and any dissent against the New World Order. So World War II was the first step into creating the New World Order. This is where the United Nations started to form. It was to unite nations that wasn't part of this world order yet. This was the first step, and they used the Jesuits, they used Hitler, Himmler, and Goebbels to do that. That is why the fear propaganda was so strict, because they didn't allow any dissent. If you look at the makeup, so the World War II was not about the Jews, okay? World War II was to get the New World Order going. During World War II, Iran's president said, they got him on an interview, and I'll put the clip for you also in the description. Over 60 million people died during World War II. Okay, the history says over 15 million. I'm not going to argue about that. And out of that, those millions of peoples, there were gypsies, there was Europeans, there were Christians, there were Muslims, there were Buddhists, they were from every race, every kind of religion. It wasn't a war against the Jews per se. Yes, the Jews were persecuted. They were oppressed even before the war. I mean, those Bolshevik Jews were poor. These people were under the breadline. Most of them were under the breadline. So yes, did the Jews suffer? They did. Of course they did. But the war wasn't about the Jews per se. The war was about stopping any dissenters, and second, to get this New World Order funneling going. Now, in Germany, the Nazis killed 2.5 million of their most educated Germans, professors, doctors, anyone who dared to go against this regime of Hitler, who started asking questions. They simply murdered them. That's what happened. 2.5 million educated guys. That's
Mm.
why the pressure on the guys with big platforms that got authorization about their names, they get persecuted relentlessly when they speak out in truth. So the word Holocaust was never even used by the Nazis during World War II. It was a word, it was a phrase that was created after World War II by Goebbels to get this fear propaganda going so that the people will not start asking questions about the lies that they told about World War II. And one of the lies is the gas chambers. Now, yes, there were people gassed. There was a blue room and a red room. It's buildings that were outside these huge buildings that they showed in the mainstream media, where they gassed people who had infirmities, old people, sick people who couldn't work because those were war camps. They worked in these camps. So yes, they cruelly just gassed them to death. But I mean, they murdered them in many ways. But those big gas chambers that they showed and they take people on tours, those were communal showers. And how it worked was they sent the people into the showers naked. Then while they were in the showers, they hang their clothes. They first fumigate. There was a small fumigation room where they used these cyclone gas to because there was typhus fever and there were all
Yeah,
kinds of
right.
lice and stuff because of the
Mm.
living conditions, right? So they
Oh.
simply fumigated the uniforms, those striped suits that they wore, and then they hang them outside those showers to dry out. So when they come out of the showers, then they put on their war garb again. Now, the reason why you see all these grays with these mass bodies in that hasn't got clothes on, it's because it was winter time. So the moment that someone died, the other prisoners took the clothes because it was cold. So that is why they don't have clothes on. So they mingled, like I said before, they mingle the truth and the deception so closely that it's very hard to distinguish between the truth and the lie. There was never those many people killed in the gas chambers. But yes, people were tortured. But it wasn't just Jews. It was all of them. If you had a disability and you couldn't work, doesn't matter if you were a gypsy, a European, a Muslim, whatever, you were killed. The actual camps where the Jews per se were persecuted and murdered were Treblinka, and there were two camps of them. And what happened there
Mhm.
was Hitler actually told Himmler, do not touch the Jews, do not hurt them. And like in any war, some of the guys who's fighting monsters become monsters themselves. And this is what happened to Himmler. And he just murdered those Jews that came into Treblinka and that the other camp. So yes, the Jews were persecuted, but they were actually in
And
the
then
minority.
Hitler find about this
Okay.
atrocity, I think, where the Jews were gunned down and
Yes, yes, that is
en
true.
masse, and then they
Yes.
said there's a memo that went out that said don't let the Fuhrer find out about this.
Yes, yes. But David Irving says, yes, he hears that Hitler didn't know about it. But if you are at the head of the military and the head of waging war, you must know what's going on under you. So it could be that Hitler turned a blind eye or that he simply didn't know. It looks as if he didn't know that some stuff were happening. But that to me, this is my end message. I actually just want to make this clear. All these petty things, all these thousands of podcasts going on about who is now responsible for this false flag, who is responsible for that regime change, what. It's irrelevant. It's like Philip said in the previous lecture that we did. It's like a film. It's like a movie, and all these atrocities and chaos that they create. is to distract you from what they are really doing. And what they are really doing is what I want to put your attention on. It is the Vatican, it is Rome that wants to get global power again. And they do it through all these wars, all these revolutions, all these regime change wars. So don't focus on the pettiness of all these wars. And please, I'm not saying people dying, people being massacred like Gaza. I'm not saying that this is petty. I'm saying don't get overwhelmed by all this chaos because they are creating it on purpose. And do not fall for the fear propaganda. Like I just said to you, the word Holocaust was never even used during World War II. It's a post-war slogan that Goebbels created to get the fear propaganda going so that people will not ask questions. But this didn't happen. If you speak to people that was really in that war, they will tell you about beautiful pools they had. It was not like everything that they explained to us that happened in mainstream media. They mixed truth and error with each other to hide the fact that this war was not about the Jews. It was to get the New World Order going. So, anti-Semitism is the same thing. People are so scared of the slogan. I just laugh at it because it's a slogan that was created to get the fear propaganda going. Oh, please, I just don't. It's like racism. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a racist. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm not a Holocaust denier. Well, I'm all of those things because my brain works. Thank you very much. And I will find the truth and I will look and discuss the truth because I mustn't be scared of you who's a Jesuit. You, that's a Jesuit who's lying to the world, must be scared of me because I'm not scared of you and I will find the truth and I will tell the people about it. So then, what I also, oh, I want to show you two clips. Okay, I showed you the one clip, but I have to show you this other clip as well. Okay, extract from a report by Ambassador Harriman in Moscow to the State Department, June 30, 1944. Stalin paid tribute to the assistance rendered by the United States to the Soviet industry before and during the war. Speaking of World War II, he said that about 2/3 of all the large industrial enterprises in the Soviet Union had been built with United States help or technical assistance. Now, this explains a lot of things. I have seen recently President Putin posting a video just after Donald Trump humiliated the Pope and said some of these harsh things that he does. Then Vladimir goes and puts this video on his Kremlin Facebook page where he's so submissive to the Pope and kissing the Pope's hand, and just his whole demeanor is subject to the Pope. So that explains that, which I don't want to believe. I just want to grab him by the throat and tell him to wake up. But this clip links that to that. The other thing is when Venezuela's regime change happened, Vladimir Putin didn't do anything. And when they were asked, him and Sergei Lavrov and Dmitry Peskov, they said, oh, but we are busy with our own war in Ukraine. We cannot get involved with everyone's wars. That was the excuse for not doing anything. And Venezuela is one of their allies. So that explains why Vladimir cannot stand up to the United States. Now, the United States, as I've showed you with that clip, is already a fascist state. It's long time been taken over by Rome.
There we go.
You can see it. Okay. So if you look at that, Nazi Germany on the right and Russia on the left. So if you look at the top there, the funders, Guarantee Trust Company, Russia side, Guarantee Trust Company on the right as well. And this was what Walter called synthesis. So post-World War II, United Nations as a first step to the New World Order. So it looks to you like there's two parties in your country. It looks to you that there's two sides in a war, but at the top, the same Jesuit order, the Vatican, Rome, these rich, mega rich Rothschilds families. If you go back, most of the wars are funded. The funds go back to Wall Street. Okay, so you think there's a war going on between two different parties, but it's actually the Jesuits waging this war to get Rome, to get their global control back. That is very important. That is the part I want you to understand. Why do you think Israel is untouchable? Because they are the headquarters of the Jesuits. If you go and Google, you'll see there's a huge Jesuit center in the middle of Israel. And the Zionist is actually just a smokescreen for the Jesuits. Okay, they're all the same. And these men are not Jews or Romans or Muslims or Russians. They are from every walk, every religion. They are from everywhere in the world that makes up these secret societies. And these men doesn't look like the devil, although they worship the devil in principle. They are super educated. They are lawyers, they are doctors, they are statesmen. So you will sit next to a Jesuit in church and you will not know it is a Jesuit because they are so trained to lie, to show the other side of the coin that you as a normal person will never recognize them. But my mission is not to send you on a hunt for who's a Jesuit, who's a Freemason, which country this. Forget about all those things. It's not what's important. What is important is that this global New World Order system that they want to have ready and 2030 and all the agendas that goes with that is to take away your liberty. It's to take away to all your sovereignty in your countries, to take away your religious freedom. I said to you last time, who will I worship? When do I want to worship? How do I want to worship? They want you under that one world system. And if you think this system is a friendly system, you are really just fooling yourself. Look at the cruelty in history, what they did in World War II, how cruel they were. Look at what they did in Gaza. Look now in Iran, how they just bombed a school with little girls in. Their cruelty has got no end. If you look at Bible prophecy, this agenda is pushing us into World War III, right? Then that 2030 agenda will fall into place. Then they have control through your money. That's where the Bible prophecy comes in. You will not be able to buy or sell if you go against the system. And the moment that the persecution starts with the people who keep God's commandments, because the war is against Jesus Christ, the war is Satan against Jesus. That is the whole conspiracy. And they will persecute the people who keeps the commandments of God, because that's the moment that persecution starts of those people by this world group, and they're going to do it so cleverly. It will not be them that does the persecution. It will be like what happened during the lockdowns in COVID. Other people that is brainwashed by the system will persecute the people that doesn't follow the New World Order system. And the Bible says that God will, the moment that persecution starts, probation closes. And God says he will make that persecution time short, because nearly no saint will be able to live through that. That's how cruel it's going to be, right? I mean, you can just look at how the IDF soldiers in the prisons, how cruel they get, how incredibly cruel they get. They throw people in jail without trial. I mean, here in South Africa, South Africa is totally taken over by the Jesuits. We've got a group here. I did a post about it a while ago about a doctor and his three sons, and they were put into jail for, I think, 6 or 13 years without trial. This was a waiting trial before they even started their cases. They just throw you in prison and they forget about you. That's how it's going to work. So then after this, this short period of persecution, the 7 last plagues will start to fall. Now I will take it further when I do the spiritual warfare side, but just so you can understand the bigger picture, these wars are controlled. They are planned way before, like Philip said, before they even happen. Although the particulars might not be exactly the same as then, but the big agenda has been planned a long time ago. So this is so that Rome can get full control, those mega rich families who's worshipping Satan in principle. So I'm now going to give over to Philip, and once he has explained everything he's researched, and we did not communicate before the time, we want to see how these things are going to fit into each other, then I'll just give a short summary for the end of this lecture. So thank you very much, Philip. So this, it seems like we have lost Philip for a moment. We'll see if he can come back at some time, but for now he's not here. Since he's got a problem with his signal. Philip is in Mongolia, and I'm in South Africa. So it looks like there's a problem with the recording on his side. So I'm just going to continue for now. So I'm not sure what Philip got through his research, but I will see if he can maybe try and record it separately, and then I will add it to the program. So that just in closing, so what I want you to understand is that there's a lot of chaos going on, and I don't want people to focus on who is part of the New World Order, who's not part of it. That's not where your focus must be. Your focus must be on the bigger picture. Rome is trying to get global control again. They're working through all these secret societies, and they're trying to get all the governments under a one world government, and they're trying to get all the churches, all the religious entities that they are under a one world religious system. And that's going to form the New World Order. And then the church is going to dictate to the government what they want us to do, what they want us to believe. They're going to control absolutely every aspect of your life. And I'm not time setting. The World Economic Forum has set the time for 2030. And as I've shown you with the wars, they usually last about 4 to 5 years. And that will, if this war with Iran does what we think it's going to do, it's going to end exactly at that time frame, 2030. So I leave you with the following. You do not need to hate people in order to question systems. You do not need to deny suffering in order to examine propaganda. And you do not need to fear difficult conversations if your goal is truth. A free society should never fear questions. That is the first sign of a fascist regime takeover, is when you are not allowed to discuss and ask questions. And a strong mind should never be controlled by fear. This fear propaganda, the COVID fear propaganda, ignore these things, that it's propaganda, it's a myth, it doesn't exist. Okay. Find out what's the truth. The information I gave you today is available on the net. I will, like I said, I will put the links of the podcasts for you, the lectures for you in the descriptions. This is not new information. This is old information. I'm just parroting previous people that's done the research. So I wanted to tell you a last thing about these wars and the New World Order. When they get to the point where they want to be, where they control you with the money system, where they can stop you from buying and selling, you mustn't wait until that point before you make a decision. You must have made your decision before we get there. There's only two religions in the world. Or you are for God, or you are against God. And you need to find out that's where your focus should be. You must go and do your Bible studies of Daniel and Revelation. And there are many information on the internet that you can go and do studies of Daniel and Revelation of Bible prophecy. And you will see that the Bible predicted what is happening now, spot on. Everything that Rome is doing, the Bible predicted. So I told you in the previous podcast that the Antichrist is an Antichrist system. It's a control system. It's a fascist control system. It is actually Mitraism. It's the old Persian god of Mitra. You will see the Statue of Liberty has got the sun god crown on. Even the foot piece, you will see it's a mason that created the statue. All these little symbols that you see everywhere, all the flags, all the countries' flags are Masonic. The whole system is already working together. I mean, communism was written by Marx. Marx was a high Freemason. So is China and Russia really not part of the New World Order? If you listen to Alexander Dugin, he's promoting a multipolar world order. Now, it sounds wonderful, and I'm all for it because it will protect the sovereignty of the groups of the nations in that multipolar world order. But at the top, is it not exactly the same thing? Because, I mean, Stalin was a high Freemason. Adolf Hitler was a high Freemason. Hillary Clinton is a high Freemason. So all these people are elected, they're selected, they're not elected. I know they hold elections and you feel like you are choosing the guy that you want, but in the back, it's not them that controls the countries. The countries are controlled by military complexes, mega companies, religions. And if you go behind the scenes of all those shares and bonds and bankers, you will end up at Rome. You will end up at those mega rich families who's running the world. And their aim is this fascist Mitra religion, this old system of control. And it goes back to Satan, who wants to control the world. He wants a one world government because that is much easier than for him to exert his influence and his control. And that's also why they want to depopulate the world, because it's easier to control fewer people, of course. Let's just see. No, Philip is not back on. I think what he's going to do, he's going to record his stuff will be separate, and I will just insert it into our episode of today. So that brings us to the end of this discussion. Thank you for joining me again for this podcast. And yes, I struggle with the technical issues, but what you hear on here is the truth. And you can come to these lectures every time, and I will tell you exactly what's going on. Like I said to you before, I'm not scared of the Jesuits. They should be scared of me. They should be scared of everyone that is exposing their lies and exposing the truth. And that is our commission. We have to tell the world the truth. We have to tell the world that Jesus is coming soon. And if you look at these dates, we haven't got a lot of time left. You have to make sure who you believe, what you believe, and why you believe it, so that you can understand and know how to make an informed decision, because that's what they are stealing from you. They are taking away the ability for you to make an informed decision, because they hide the truth from you. And they invoke fear in you with their fear propaganda, so that you will not question stuff. You just want your life to be easy. You don't want to be ridiculed. You don't want to be pushed out socially. And I can assure you, everyone that stands up for truth, we even get pushed out in our own churches. The oppression and the persecution is real. It's happening in my own life. It's happening. So, in this episode, if this episode challenged you to think deeper, please subscribe, share this podcast, and join me again next Thursday at 8 o'clock, same time. And remember, the loudest prison in the world is the one built inside the human mind. And that is what they want. They want to build a prison in your mind that you will not question things. Please question everything. Discuss these things with people that you know, and you will, and research. And remember, memes on Facebook is not research. You have to read books. You have to watch podcasts and lectures from guys that knows what they're talking about. And especially listen to the guys that has been ostracized, that has been pushed out, because it's them that's telling you the truth. So I'm just going to close with a short prayer for all of you. Dear Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name I pray, and I just want to thank you for the privilege of knowledge, of information, and of truth. Thank you for opening my eyes to the truth, and I pray and intercede for every single person who watched this Loud Cry podcast, that their eyes might be opened. I plead with you, God, to open their eyes to the truth. We have so little time left. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. So this was my third Loud Cry.